All right, so far we are doing good. So we have our app bar, top bar there. We have the sign out, we have the title, and of course it's a very strange icon, but you can change to whatever you want. That's fine. All right, so now let's go and look at, first of all, we can actually change the color to a different color of our icon, right? Because if you have over in our icon here, you can see that we can say tint and pass a different color. So we can do that. It's not going to hurt anything. And we say tint, say color, let's say that light, let's say green, and then say copy and pass an alpha as such of about 0.4f like this. So that way we can just see that little nice tint there. It's something similar to this. We can play around with this. That's totally fine. That was just an optional thing. I thought, actually, come to think about it, I don't really need to add. We don't really need to add that color. So you can do all sorts of things once you have our icon. You can even pass a modifier, and the world is your oyster. All right, let's go ahead and move on and put together this structure here. Okay, so let's see how can we add this. Okay, so right, of course, still inside here, I'm going to create another composable and call this fun reading right now area. And of course, here we're going to pass books, which is going to be a list of M books like this. Okay. And then, of course, we're going to pass our nav controller like that. Now, we don't have this mbook yet. So let's go ahead and create this mbook class. It's going to be a data class. So let's go to our models. I'm going to right click and create Kotlin class. It's going to be a data class. Call this mbook. Okay. There we go. So for now, I'm going to pass a few properties into our constructor here. Let's say I'm going to say var id. Now you'll notice usually when we pass properties or fields into our primary constructor, we say val because we're going to be dealing with Firestore database. And this class, or this data class, will be, of course, creating a book types that we're going to be saving into our database. Firestore won't work properly if you make these variables vals, right? These properties have to be var because they need to be changed as we pass them along into Firestore. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. And for now, and we'll change this class quite a bit as we go through. So for now, I'm going to create a string here, which could be null. And then I'm going to go create another one for title of the book. Make this nullable. Keep it null and var again. Authors. Just going to be a string, which is going to be null. And notes. Okay, we are coming back. We'll be coming back to do more work. And of course, we'll come back to do more work for our mbook. But for now, that's fine because we just want to have a structure that we can use. Okay. Okay. So that is going to be actually this area here. So we'll get back to that. And so let's focus again to this area here, your reading activity. So first, let's look at this text here, your reading activity right now. So I'm going to create yet another composable here. Lots of composables. Let's just give ourselves some space. And then say fun. I'm going to call this title section. And I'm going to pass modifier. Label. It's going to be just a text or string, I should say. Okay. The reason why I'm putting in a different modifier again is because we will be using this title section here and as well here. So might as well just put in a different, in its own composable so we can reuse that code. Okay, so I'm going to let's create a surface as such and pass our modifier. Let's give a padding of about 5 dp. To start, top about 1 dp. Okay, and then inside here, I'm just going to put a column. And I'm going to say text and pass a label, of course. And let's style this. I'm going to say font style. I'm going to say normal. Well, let's start. Well, we should start with font size. That's fine. 19 SP. And font style, I want this normal. And text align, I want this to be left. Oops, let's go back. Left, text align like this. Okay. Area. Now we've created the composable that is responsible for creating this, as well as this at a later time. Okay, now let's look at the structure that we have so far. So we do have our reader app, which has been called inside of our home, right? So this home, remember, is part of our navigation, which means being called on our main activity. So let me close down some of these because we can have some sort of a better visual of what's going on. Now for our home content here, I'm going to yet create another composable here. Fun. I'm going to call this homeContent, which is going to be called here. So I'm just going to say homeContent as such. And as you know by now, let's go ahead and also pass the navigation, nav controller, which means here I'm going to just go ahead and pass our nav controller. Okay, this also would suffice because they have the same name anyway. So nav controller that we're getting from home, we're going to pass along. So there we go. All right, so in our home content here, this is where we are going to create pretty much all of this structure here, right? So anything from below our app bar there all the way down. So if you look at the structure of everything pretty much is laid out top to bottom, so which means we need a column. So let's do that. Let's add a column right away. And let's pass a modifier here. Padding, I'm just going to say about 2 dp. And let's see. I'm going to add a vertical arrangement. Let's say arrangement space evenly. Okay, so now inside, I'm going to add a row first because I'm going to structure this now. So I'm going to have the first row, second row, and so forth. Okay, so for my row here, I'm going to also add a modifier. Oops, and say align. Let's just say modifier align such, and I'm going to say pass an alignment, of course, of alignment. I want everything to be at the start, so it starts, goes to the left, okay, inside of our row. And this is the row where I'm going to first add this title section which we created. I'm going to say title section and passing the label. The label is going to say something like this: you're reading, and then I'm going to put a new line escape there, another text that says activity right now. Let's take a look at add a preview here so we can see how perhaps all of this looks. We're going to have issues here. Let's just say it's equal to nav controller, passing in local context, that current like this. That way we can hopefully see something in our preview. Let's just see. All right, so as you see here, let me make this like that. You can see now it's working perfectly. Well, not perfectly, but at least you can see that we have, of course, the top bar there, and we have your reading activity at this moment, which is right below here. It's okay, as we add other items, this is going to be pulled up, okay, where it belongs. All right, so we're making good progress here. This is starting to look, at least we can see the pieces coming together.